Hello everyone, it's AJ. Welcome back to my channel, AJ's Movie Place. Got another review for you today. I'm going to be reviewing the movie The Thing. Not the 1982 version, the 2011 version. So let's get into it. Okay, I did review the 1982 version of this film the other day after receiving the 4K release. My review was based on that, so if you want to go back and watch that one, please feel free to do so. After watching that, I thought, why don't I rewatch the 2011 film, give my thoughts on that. Now, I haven't watched this film since it came out in 2011, so I thought it'd be rather interesting to watch them side by side, which I've never done, and give you a review of this one. Yeah, give you my thoughts. So yeah, why not? Now, before I begin, please consider subscribing. The subscribe button is just down below. Hit that and yeah, come aboard, help me out, all that sort of stuff. Also hit the notification bell and you can keep up to date with all my content. And the comments section, please leave me a comment if you so wish. Let me know your thoughts on stuff and I will get back to you. I'm also on Facebook and Instagram under the same name as this channel here. Okay, so the 2011 The Thing, starring Mary Elizabeth Winstead. Okay, so like I said, this film came out in 2011. It is a prequel to the 1982 version. So this film gives you the story of what happened at that Norwegian base prior to the events of the 1982 John Carpenter film. Yeah, so the film begins and these researchers find this signal and they discover this structure under the ice. At this point in the film, it very much does feel like Alien versus Predator. Yeah, with you know this older scientist guy, or this older head of this thing coming to secure Mary Elizabeth Winstead's character's services to go out and have a look. So anyway, obviously straight away it's not all Norwegians. You get some Americans heading out to this Norwegian research base to make it a bit more palatable for your American audience, your British audience, this sort of thing. So they head out, they see the ship, they see this sort of stuff. Obviously the creature's taken out of the ice, in its ice block, and all trouble ensues because the creature bursts out and runs amok, pretty much like in the first one. The film does sort of play beat for beat like the first one. You do have scenes where they decide, let's go and do some blood testing, but the blood testing, the lab gets destroyed, so they figure out an easier way of doing it, which is by the fillings of your teeth. Obviously that's open to a bit of scrutiny in that some people might not have fillings, but for the most part it works, and it had made the end of 1982 version a whole lot easier when Macready sat across from Charles, wouldn't it? Yeah. So anyway, like I said, it plays beat for beat. You've got shots out in the snow, you've got the creature, you've got flamethrowers, all this sort of stuff. You've got the flamethrowers not working in front of the creature, like in the 1982 version. So it's all pretty much the same. So narratively speaking, the film is somewhat boring to watch because you're watching a lesser remake of the original film. Do you really know what needed to happen at the Norwegian Arctic base? Probably not, because it's exactly the same as what happened at the American Arctic base that we know. Let's go into how the film was shot. Okay, this film, you'll see it uses a whole lot of scenery, Arctic scenery in the snow with mountains, and it looks fabulous. Now the first thing, 1982 version, didn't do this because they kept it very dark. Now the darkness gave it more of a eerie feel, more of a claustrophobic feel. This film does feel a whole lot more open. And in this film, they also want to show you the creature a lot more, which is rather unfortunate. The original idea for this film was to use practical effects, much like the original thing did, but they then opted for a lot of CGI, which doesn't really hold up, and it didn't look great at the time. So you have the creature running around. They don't really introduce anything new to the creature itself. No, you know, they don't develop the creature. It's exactly the same as it is. Although they do things where bits of it try and break away and then form back together. So they give you smaller versions of it running around. They went into that. There's scenes in the film where one of the characters, I forget the actor's name, he played Uncle Ben. Not Uncle Ben. He played Aunt Beru and Uncle Owen in the prequel trilogy of Star Wars when they gave Thingy over. Yeah. Anyway, he's hiding in this in like a kitchen, and the creature comes through the door and is walking around, skulking around slowly, sort of a Jurassic Park sort of feel, you know. So you turn it into more of a you know, a sort of bulk standard creature runs amok and it's running around the corridors chasing people, this sort of thing, which the first film didn't give you. It didn't do that, and I didn't want it. I didn't need it. It just felt like you're heading into this territory of filmmaking that the first one wasn't. So yeah. Like I said about the shooting of the film, so I'm jumping back to this now, I'm all over the place, aren't I? In the original thing, when it was shot at night time, it used the darkness, like I said, as an element of the storytelling and the fear factor. But also, them night shots were lit beautifully. Even though it was dark, you had the blue lighting and the white lighting. Here you're heading into a territory almost, not quite, but almost outdoor nighttime scenes where you're stepping into Alien vs Predator 2 territory where you can't see much and it's just very silhouetted because it's a white light. You've got no other colour palette apart from the white and the snow and the darkness and grey buildings. So it gets very uninteresting to look at visually, not very aesthetically pleasing like the first film was. Now the film does give you a sort of larger ending in that the creature heads off to its spaceship and Mary Elizabeth Winstead and the other character chases it. I can't remember the character's name. Chases it to the spaceship and they venture into the ship and there's like a sort of battle there, but it's your standard sort of monster creature fare that you get in cheaper type of films. The film does end with the opening of the 1982 thing with the two Norwegians in helicopter, neither of them are unable to speak English, chasing the dog, which is probably about the best bit of the film, to be honest with you. Is it a good film? In comparison to the 1982 version, no, obviously it's not. It's nowhere near, because that's a classic. This film is an unneeded prequel, shall we say, because they didn't even change the name. It's called The Thing. That's called The Thing. So it is a remake prequel, this sort of thing. You could say it's one or the other. It's certainly a prequel, but it's a remake. Because the goings on are exactly the same, and you pretty much know how this is going to end. It's left open with Mary Elizabeth Winstead's character. She's left out in the cold, so to speak. That would have been an interesting way to do a sequel, as if you were prepared to drop her character and say that she was infected after all. And you open up into a sequel that route. Not that I want to see a sequel, I don't. I'm just saying that's the way that you would go, potentially. But yeah, so nowhere near as good as the original. It was an alright watch. Like I said, I haven't watched it in 10 years. So it's a acceptable film. It's nothing fantastic. It's not bad. It's just middling. It's just that mediocrity, that middle line of mediocrity of a film that wasn't needed, wasn't required, didn't ask for. You know, like I said, you can use your mind to establish what happened at the Norwegian research base, because the film takes you there anyway. The original 1982 film takes you there and you see the aftermath. And this film just shows you how these things fell into place. How did that hole in the ceiling appear above the Arctic tomb? Now we know. The creature that was burnt up on the ground with the two faces split. How did that get there? What's the story? Now we know. All this sort of stuff. How's that geezer with the sliced throat and where he's like... now we know. Yeah, we didn't need to know. Anyway, it's AJ. I'm getting away. Thanks for watching. Take care all and goodbye.